Hello, and welcome back to Strength Daily Laughter, also known as Creative Cultivation. So I wanted to hop on here and quickly just share a teaching that I was reading earlier this morning. I've been waking up like super early in the morning. I typically go to bed by 10 at the latest, and then I'm up by 4 a.m. I usually work out, even if it's I call it my God walks, which is a prayer walk. And then I typically go to, I'm starting a new job. Hopefully, by God's grace. I won't name drop where it's at, but hopefully by God's grace, I'm starting a new job. They told me to follow up with the end of next week. I'm really excited about it because it's like in fashion retail, which I've been doing a little bit on and off. And I've also done, hold on a second. I've also worked in information technology, and I'm doing an AI certification starting next Thursday. And then I'm working on my Scrum Master certification as well, which expires in about 30 days. But basically, it's just my love languages, things that I enjoy doing. It's just creative spheres of work. Not just that, but I have started a couple businesses. And I'm trying to put it into a conglomerate under one LLC called Strength Daily Laughter, which is this YouTube account. And it's including, I think if anyone saw my last short, it's including my medical device company. I have like 2 different worship collectives with the idea of like to write stories and songs, to write worship music, which are going to be like Christian love songs about like the difficulties of getting together into marriage specifically, and then also just agape. Like it's gonna be those stories, and then also just agape. And it's called, I might as well say it. It's called To Write Silver First. I want to invite my friends into that, but I haven't had the time to connect with them yet. But it's something that I'm deeply praying over in my heart. And then there's a second collective, which is gonna be stories about your hometown, like where you love being, the things that God laid on your heart as a child and just growing up in the Lord. That one is going to be called If Hometown Had to Happen. So I'm from Boston. That's why I'm wearing my Boston hat right now for Celtics. But basically, and it's on the East Coast, which is just my hometown, New England, New Hampshire. Yeah, I love it. I miss it. And I haven't been back in a little while, but I'll be back soon by God's grace. That's where me and my brother are from. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Okay, so I left it in the car. That would have actually been so helpful. But basically, I've been reading Isaiah 32, and I did not have the correct interpretation or understanding of it at first. But then I went into Blue Letter Bible to understand it this morning, and I was like, just trying to figure out, what does this even mean? And so in Blue Letter Bible, it was saying that the person who did the interpretation, I forget who his name is, but I'll put it in the bio. Basically, he was saying that it's a rebuke on it says Assyria in the Bible. In the Bible it says Assyria, it says it's a rebuke on Assyria. But then remember, we had the Syrian Revolution, which happened when the dictator in Syria finally left, and then there was a Syrian Revolution, which happened. When did that happen? In the end of 2024. So this passage, I think, is talking about that. So it spiritually, when you interpret, especially a lot of prophetic books, it can be talking about the nation or a nation, like it does when it talks about Israel. It talks about like a nation of, like the nation of Israel, right? But then sometimes it can also be interpreted spiritually for like a set of people or a person. So that's what I'm trying to go through right now. And basically, it just says like, let me just read it verbatim, and then I'll talk about the couple verses that stuck out to me. It says, "Behold, a king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule in justice." And then I'm sorry, I just wanted to apologize in advance. Like the video that I posted a little while back says that women should only prophesy with their head covered when married, and I am not like physically married to anyone. It's just that my hair is not like in the proper shape or anything right now for me to have it like not without a hat on. But if you want to consider it, every Christian is like, you know what, I'm not sure if that's theologically correct, but it's like the way that I can think of it as well. You're married to Christ first and foremost, especially from the female perspective. But I don't know if that's like the correct theology. I'm going to look that up before I post this, but I just wanted to explain because I know I mentioned that, and I'm not like fully married, but it's fine. I'm just going to read it again. So it says, "Behold, a king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule in justice." Also, I'm not the prophet that wrote this, but I'm reading it, so I'm not sure if that counts as like prophesy. It says, "Behold, a king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule in justice. Each will be like so this is just teaching. Each will be like a hiding place from the wind, a shelter from the storm." That's beautiful. Like streams of water in a dry place. like the shade of a great rock in a weary land. And the eyes of those who see will not be closed, and the ears of those who hear will give attention. The heart of the hasty will understand and know, and the tongue of the stammerers will hasten to speak distinctly. It says, the fool will be no more called noble, and then it says, nor the scoundrel said to be honorable. For the fool speaks like folly, and his heart is busy with iniquity, to practice ungodliness, to utter error concerning the Lord, to leave the craving of the hungry unsatisfied. It says, and to deprive the thirsty of drink. For as for the scoundrel, his devices are evil. He plans wicked schemes to ruin the poor with lying words, even when the plea of the needy is right. Because God always says, like, look out for, God says in Proverbs 17, do not mock the poor. And then in James, he definitely talks about, like, if you know it's good and you don't do it, that is a sin. And he also talks about, if you see someone poorly clothed and lacking food, and all you do is pray, you lack faith. Which, in my interpretation, could mean you lack, your lampstand will fall. Because that's how serious God takes it. Because in other times it says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. So, do not mock the poor. And that's what the Bible says. I don't think I've ever done that. I've helped homeless people. I have compassion on my family. It just takes understanding and the grasp of, like, what is the value of a dollar. But then also in teaching that we've learned in other churches, in another church I had went to, teaching that I learned is just that God, like, provides more than enough. Like, there's more than enough on the earth to cultivate and to earn and to do your own work and living until you have livelihood. So being jealous of one other's up and another person's down, or vice versa, that's also the God of Mammoth right there. The God of Mammoth is not just, oh, this person loves money, that person's after money. It's like the God of Mammoth will be like, oh, that person has money, well, I'm going to take them down because I want it. That's what the God of Mammoth, sorry, I don't know the point. That's what the God of Mammoth does. So, like, that's also a bad thing as well. Anyways, and then it says, complacent woman warned of disaster. It says, rise up, you who are at ease. Hear my voice, you complacent daughters. Give ear to my speech. In little more than a year you will shudder, you complacent woman, for the grape harvest fails. The fruit harvest will not come. It says, tremble, you women who are at ease. Shudder, you complacent ones. Strip and make yourselves bare, and tie sackcloth around your waist. Beat your breasts for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine, for the soil of my people, growing up in thorns and barriers. Yes, for all the joyous houses in the exultant city. It says, for the place is forsaken, the populous city deserted. The hill and the watchtower will become dens forever. And I forgot what, I'll have to look that up. I thought at first, oh, is that a good thing? But I think that's actually part of the rebuke right there. Because it says, in some translations, it says those places will become liars forever. So it's kind of like they're complacent in, like, a desolate city, but they, like, refuse to leave. They're like, so in the beginning of this, it says palaces somewhere, right? It says each will be like a hiding. Oh wait, that's not even it. I have to go back. I think I was looking at a different translation, but oh, it says, for the palace is forsaken, the populous city deserted. That's where it says it. The populous city deserted. The hill and the watchtower will become dens forever, or will become liars forever. So maybe it's like they stay in the midst of the city, and then we know in, like, Matthew 22 or so, it talks about in the end times. Like, mother will be against daughter, or daughter will be against mother, mother against daughter. And then it says, like, also those times where it's like, it says, flee from the city and, like, go to the hills in Jerusalem or something like that. And then the latter half of this verse says, a joy of wild donkeys, a pasture of flocks or ox. And then it says, until the Spirit is poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness becomes a fruitful field, and the fruitful field is deemed a forest, then justice will dwell in the wilderness. So justice will dwell where? In the wilderness. So the wilderness is probably a better place to be. And it says, and the righteousness abide in the fruitful field. It says, and the effect of righteousness will be peace. And the result of righteousness is quietness and trust forever. I think that means, like, security. It says, my people will abide in a peaceful habitation, in secure dwellings, and in quiet resting places. And it will hail when the forest falls down, and the city will be utterly laid low. Okay, so those are the good people. But then it says when the forest falls down, the city will be utterly laid low. So that's scary. We don't know what time to coming. But there have been like really scary times. I currently live in the city of Atlanta, but my home, where I love, is in Boston. And it says, happy are you who sow beside all waters. Who sow beside all waters. I don't know. I'm planning on moving soon, but I'm not sure like where to go. So that's kind of where I've been asking God. I'm like, God, where exactly do you want me? I have some meeting with some people who work in missions and missionaries coming up next week or so, and it's kind of like I want to work wherever you've called me to, God, and just be a blessing to you. Like it says seek the welfare of the city in Jeremiah is what it says. It says, happy are you who sow beside all waters, and let the feet of the happy is not the same as joy, so I'm not sure about that. It says, who let the feet of the ox and the donkey range free. And I don't know what the Bible means spiritually about an ox and spiritually about a donkey, but it seems like those aren't the best people to have around you. But it also says, I'm sorry. The Bible also says, do not muzzle an ox. So the ox I think spiritual oxes are probably good. I do not think spiritual donkeys are good. So but I'm not really quite sure what that last verse means. But the other stuff is just things that I kind of studied out this morning, and I'm just trying to understand it now. And I think, yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand it now. So if anybody understands this, and if they heed this, I'm gonna have a conversation with somebody that can maybe we can speak about it to each other, and kind of get some discernment on this interpretation when we're talking to them next week, as I mentioned. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and share this and share a little bit about what's going on in my life. I pray everyone's doing well, having a good summer. It is warm out, but I just wanted to come on here and share that. And yeah, that's all. Have a blessed week. Goodbye.